smart partnerships with the private sector, individual farmers, line ministries, departments, agencies and the banking sector yielded positive results, resulting in a successful 2022 winter wheat record crop. But wheat self-sufficiency just signaled what was largely a bigger breakthrough, producing surplus. Patience Namburo gives us more in the following report.
After a successful winter season, what's next for Zimbabwe? The country produced 375,131 tons of wheat, 13% higher than the 2021 production of 335,000 tons. The 2022 season is unprecedented, and the ministry says they will aim higher.
We are happy and we are impressed, obviously, by our farmers, by the private sector players who contributed quite significantly and in fact up to 27-28% to the current wheat hectarage, which we are celebrating obviously as of this day.
Zimbabwe was one of the two countries that achieved wheat self-sufficiency in the process. Apart from attaining food security and producing surplus to save foreign currency, the country wants to become a regional wheat supply hub. The ministry is pleased with the current winter weather as it signals another good yield.
The wheat is obviously grown in winter in Zimbabwe, and you need these cold temperatures so that you have the gradual development of the growth processes in the winter wheat crop in terms of protein development, as well as even in terms of the physiological development of the crop. So you need such a weather, you need these cold temperatures so that you have that gradual growth, gradual development of the protein content, so that you achieve a highly and a high quality wheat crop. So we are happy with this current weather, and we just hope that it persists and it continues with that, so that we achieve even the much needed 420,000 metric tons of wheat.
The Permanent Secretary was addressing stakeholders at the Crop, Livestock and Fisheries Assessment, CLAFA, where he highlighted that the nation is currently food secure.
I want to assure the nation that the nation is food secure, and it's food secure on the account, number one, of a 58% growth in terms of maize production from 1.6 million achieved last year to 2.3 million metric tons achieved this year. And in addition to about 280,000 metric tons of traditional grains, as well as almost 300,000 metric tons of grain, including maize, in the strategic grain reserve from the previous harvest. So the country is food secure. So we have a food totaling between 2.8 million to 3 million metric tons, and this is actually against the national annual requirement of 2.2 million metric tons. That is for human consumption, about 1.6 million metric tons, and then about 450,000 metric tons for animal consumption, animal feeds.
The CLAFA data is used for various purposes such as food security analysis, policy formulation, planning and budgeting, monitoring and evaluation, as well as evidence-based decision-making. For ZTN Prime, I'm Patience Namburo in Harare.
Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services Minister Monica Mochangwa confirmed that Zimbabwe will now move on to export wheat in what is said to be a remarkable feat for the country.
Then regarding the wheat, the country's current stocks stand at 140,029 metric tons, which are sufficient to provide 8 months cover. The monthly allocation stands at 21,000 metric tons. Considering that the country is wheat self-sufficient, discussions are underway with neighboring countries on possible wheat exports. Cabinet wishes to highlight that 69.8% of the country's wheat is being produced by A1 farmers. The nation is informed that a record 86,466 hectares have been put under wheat compared to 80,882 hectares last year. The area planted is 14.5% above the initial target of 85,000 hectares and 96% of the revised target of 90,000 hectares. The bulk of the planted wheat, or 69.8%, is by resettled farmers, A1 and A2, while the communal farmers contributed 6.95%.
President Mnangagwa has arrived in Botswana, where he will join fellow African heads of state and government at the high-level 15th US-Africa Business Summit that kicked off at the Royal Arena Convention Center, running under the theme Enhancing Africa's Value in Global Value Chains. The president was received at the Seretse Khama International Airport by Zimbabwean ambassador to Botswana, Batirai Shemkonoe Shuro, Zimbabwe's ambassador to the US, Teddy S. Chifamba, Industry and Commerce Minister Dr. Sekai Nzenza, and senior Zimbabwe and Botswana government officials and embassy officials. More than 1,000 participants will attend the continent's largest annual gathering of US and African leaders, aimed at providing insights on emerging opportunities for US-Africa trade, investment and commercial engagement, and priority action areas for collaboration in key growth sectors of agribusiness, finance, energy, health, infrastructure, ICT, and creative industries. The Zimbabwe dollar has firmed again by 4.8% against the greenback on the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe wholesale foreign currency auction system. This week, the local unit has firmed to $4,900 per greenback, up from $5,251 last week. The wholesale auction for foreign currency had $20 million made available out of 19 banks only. 10 that did bid put a total of $5.8 million, and the Reserve Bank allotted $5.6 million. Independent analyst Elliot Chitima says that this is the result of measures put in place by the government to strengthen the local currency.
We have seen a raft of measures being put in place by the monetary authorities. I think if you've been following that, the Monetary Policy Committee has actually come up with some measures which have been obviously circulated. The impact has been that the exchange rate, I think for the first time we've seen the exchange rate actually going, appreciating, and that has also affected the parallel or the black market exchange rate, so to speak. We've seen that it has come down from around about 9,000 to around about 7.5 thereabout. So those are the things we have been able to see. But of importance now is the official exchange rate, which I think the last trade, it was trading at 5,300, and as of today, it is actually gone appreciated again, and to close the day at 4.9. So yeah, those are the basically things that we have been able to see so far.